What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the
Cheers.
Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford, and we are presented to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. And before we get out of this episode, you want to stay tuned because we have our bet for Clutch Player of the Year. Danny has his top 5 for teams under the most pressure to win an NBA title. And because Danny has won 3 NBA championships and 1 national championship, he's going to tell us the construction of a great Hall of Fame head coach. And obviously, Danny's been playing under a number of head coaches that deserve some notoriety. With that being said, I think with almost every show, or at least in every show, it's going to be hard to not talk about LeBron James. And here we are yet again. And so I already voiced my unhappiness, Danny, with the Hennessy ad. Yeah. But somebody was even more upset than I was, and I was fake upset. Somebody's really upset because somebody has now filed a lawsuit against one LeBron James because they bought tickets for the Lakers' last regular season game upwards of $800.
So they're suing for $800.
No, I don't know. Hey, this is not. Ain't no way I'm suing for $800.
I think
if I'm suing LeBron James, it's gonna be more than $800. Sure. I'll tell you that right now.
The Reed said $800 and some dollars, like almost $900. But I'm like, he could just pay you out of pocket. Like, here, man, take $900 to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
The Reed said 900, like it was like a little under $900. I hope that's not true.
No, I doubt it's true. You got to start adding in things like emotional distress and all of those things. With that being said, I guess he is being sued for
$866, bro.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Take your $900 and go somewhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Brian Blake, look, man, you could have just DM me that. That's nuts. What are you doing?
I did want to
make it worth it.
Right, exactly. How much is the lawyer getting of that? What are we really doing here? I think it is funny though. I will say that. Wanted to talk about LeBron James really and truly because obviously he's one of the best players of all time, and it's interesting, Danny. And this is a part of our out of pocket segment. Enes Kanter, former NBA player, recently said something as it pertains to Russell Westbrook. And as of right now, Russell Westbrook is not in the league. And you and I have talked about this before. And you pointed out that Russell Westbrook kind of out of pocket for opting out of his situation with the Denver Nuggets and not having a contract in place. Now, maybe he did. Somebody pulled it back. Who knows? But Russell Westbrook's career has pretty much taken a perception hit really since he got into LA. And what Enes Kanter said, part of that LeBron James should be blamed. Again, LeBron getting more scrutiny, that he should be blamed for Russell Westbrook not being in the league anymore, because when you play with LeBron James, it's all about LeBron. And if the season fails, there needs to be a scapegoat. And the scapegoat, according to Enes Kanter, is never going to be LeBron. It's going to be one of his teammates. And Danny, you played with LeBron James not once, but twice. One, qualify in this kind of statement, and then 2, I'm just curious how your experience was, not just in the locker room, but actually having to be in the NBA culture and deal with it with what it is like to play with LeBron James.
So Enes is not totally wrong. So I agree and disagree. I probably disagree with more statements than I agree with what he said. There is always a scapegoat, and a lot of times it is somebody other than LeBron. But LeBron has been the scapegoat plenty of times. We've seen it when he took his jersey off when he was about to leave Cleveland, when they lost in the Boston series. I was a rookie that year. We've seen it before. So it's not like he has not taken the weight of it. He's taken a lot of criticism when he lost to Dallas in the finals. He has been the scapegoat plenty of times before. He's been playing for 23 years. You can't tell me 22 years he's never been, as the best player in the world, has never been, criticized and been looked at as a scapegoat. But yes, there are plenty of times where other guys are looked at of like, he needed more of this. He needed more shooting. He needed more of that. He is not the reason that Russell Westbrook is not on a roster. Now, yes, Russ could have been a scapegoat for why they didn't have a successful season then. Russ has played for a couple of years after that and other teams after that. But ever since Russ left OKC, his locker room aura has been looked at differently. I thought he kind of reinvented himself when he went to Denver. He had a really good, to me, I thought he had a really good season, played well in the playoffs, shot the 3 well, and looked like a guy that was okay and comfortable coming off the bench when he got to the Clippers and Denver. When he played for the Clippers, he played for Denver. took that 6-man role on and was the energy guy. Like Patty Mills was our guy in San Antonio, waving a towel and getting excited. Like Russ was like that for the Clippers, and even in Denver, come off the bench, be that spark, and started some games, had some triple doubles with him and Jokic. So LeBron James is not the reason why Russ isn't on a roster. But yes, Russ could have been a scapegoat after he left LA, but we all knew that was a bad fit. It didn't look like it worked, so that's not Russ's fault. But there also has been plenty of times LeBron has taken a lot of heat from when a season has not gone successful for a LeBron James team. So again, I agree with him. There's a lot of pressure on others to perform, but I disagree that it's not his fault that Russ is on a team and that he's never been a scapegoat on the teams the times that he's lost with his teams.
Obviously, when you played with LeBron, you knew there was going to be added attention. Did you, and there's nothing wrong with this. I shouldn't even preface it like this, but did you feel differently? Did you think differently when you played with LeBron?
100%. I mean, my mindset going into it, I knew what was expected, but you don't really know until just like you're preparing for kids. You don't know what not getting sleep is till you're not getting sleep with a child. You know what I'm saying? You don't know the magnitude or the magnifying glass that you're under when you're playing for the Los Angeles Lakers and playing with LeBron James until you're in that. So my mindset was like, I could play anywhere. I ain't tripping. Like, I'm ready to take on this challenge. When you get in that bitch, though, it's a way different thing. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen it happen to guys like Russell Westbrook. So yes, even when you win, there's scapegoats, even when you win, not when you just lose. So we won a title. I'm not saying we had scapegoats, but they're still looking like if he doesn't look comfortable or if things aren't as efficient as they expect it to be, we need to make changes. We need to make him happy. We need to make sure that he can last longer and that we get the right pieces around him. Shit, we won in 2020. We never got a chance to repeat because I think they didn't trust some of the pieces that we had already. And now I get the Schroeder trade for me, like they wanted to take him off the ball. But even the year after that, I think AD got hurt. And then, they wouldn't say jump ship, but they let KCP, Kuz, they traded for Russ. And then Alex Caruso, and you kept THT. Like, those pieces, you didn't even get an opportunity. Like, I feel like they're still a really good team, even when I wasn't on it, to be able to be like a contender in the West. They just, they jumped ship quick. And of course, it was due to a loss because AD was hurt. But even after we won in 2020, things changed. And they look at the roster, regardless, win or loss, we need to make sure that we keep this guy happy. We make sure that we find the right formula to make this group efficient around him.
Can you give me, it's hard.
The weight of it?
I'm trying to understand what actually the weight of it is. Is it like attention where not attention, tension where like your body feels different when you have an opportunity? Like, is it something about like literally like all the cameras? Like what does all it above, feel like?
All the above, but to give you the best way I can describe it in words, is that there's every possession, there's pressure for you to perform at your highest level.
But wasn't that always the case?
No, not really. Not particularly. This is an expectation. I mean, people want you to perform well, but the expectation is not there when you're playing in Toronto every night. There's not as many eyes on you. There's not many cameras. Not everybody's tweeting and talking about you on NBA Today. They're not talking. The Lakers is the headline. So playing for the Lakers and then playing with LeBron James is just a double microscope. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a double magnifying glass that's on you. So playing for, you got to play your best basketball every night. And if you're not, the media heads is on you, the fans are on you. If you're not playing your best basketball, LeBron James fans is on you. And then, of course, LeBron might get on you some. I mean, that's just most superstars. But he's more of an encouraging guy. So he's a great teammate. So he was never that guy until you could see he gets frustrated at times in moments. But to try to describe it, it's like you're playing your best basketball when you're just playing and not thinking. You're just playing freely. And most organizations, you can do that. Now, the big organizations, some games you can, but there's games within the games. You're playing not only against the opponents, you're playing against your teammates, your coaching staff, the minutes. You don't know what your rhythm is. Like, it's a lot of things that come into play. But it's easier to maneuver those things in smaller market cities where, you don't have to worry about the fans and the media on you as much as what. But in bigger markets, and you're playing LeBron James, it's just that much more attention on you. And every possession, like, shit, wide open, I got to hit this. Even though it's preseason, he just threw a behind the neck pass and everybody's oohing and on. Even if it's not an ooh and on pass, LeBron James threw me the ball. I got to make the shot. I got to make him look good. I got to make the Lakers look good, and we got to win. If I make mistakes and we don't win, or it's going to look bad and it's going to come upon me. And that's possession by possession, game by game. There's a scapegoat. So it just it puts a lot of weight on you, bro, and it makes you overthink. Said again, you see Russ, he looked like a shell of himself when he was in LA. Just thinking too much, and it just puts more pressure on you where you're at the free throw line like, damn, I got to make this shot. And yes, you think like that too, but it's not as much pressure when you're in other organizations. It's hard to put it into words.
When you, I'm flashing back a little bit. I feel like when you were with the Lakers, you struggled. Obviously, you were still a good free throw shooter relative for who you were, relative for an NBA player. But you struggled as a free throw shooter.
It was one of my worst seasons as a shooter. Period. Like just all around. And also, I think the bubble was not a great atmosphere for me. I'm used to playing in front of crowd. Like, not to make excuses, but I feed off the crowd. More of a transition guy. When I had to play in a post, or play through AD or LeBron, and stand still and just wait and be a sitting duck, I'm not as effective. Also, I didn't have a great year when I said another guy that I loved playing with, but it was just I didn't have my best shooting years with LaMarcus Aldridge. Feeding the post and because with Timmy, we didn't feed the post as much. It was more pick and roll, bam, 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 up and down. It was move, swing, kick, drive. But when you're just feeding the post and just waiting for guys to double and then move, same with Joel Embiid, it took time for me to adapt and adjust to that. And it takes like a year or so to feel out your teammates. But all around offensively, I don't think we had great rhythm. We had too many.
You guys didn't have a great rhythm offensively. You guys were just good defensively.
We were great defensively, and I think we just had too many pieces, and that was the challenge for Frank Vogel, finding minutes for everybody. When you got KCP, Alex Caruso, Avery Bradley, Rondo, Dwight, JaVale McGee, Kuz, myself, LeBron James, THT, and then he was a rookie. But then we got Marcus Morris, we had Troy Daniels, we had J.R. Smith, and Deion Waiters came later. DeMarcus Cousins, who we had let go, but we had many guys. Quinn Cook, we had so many guys that said I would play the first 6 minutes, sit for another 12 minutes, which is like an hour game time, and then play this last 6 minutes of the half. By the time I go back in, I'm like, yo, Frank, I don't really have a rhythm, and I'm not old, but I'm 32. But it's like I have to be on a bike. I have to figure out ways to stay in the game.
Yeah, I forgot you would run to the bike. I forgot about that.
That's when I started doing the bike. I would start the first 6 minutes, and then he wanted me to finish the half. But it's like I'm sitting for 6 minutes, and then another 12 minutes in a game. It's like a whole period. And with timeouts, that's a lot of time to try to keep rhythm. In the second half, even worse. You know what I'm saying? Halftime, 6 minutes, and then finish fourth quarter. You want me to come in cold, try to make shots in the fourth quarter. I've been sitting for 12 minutes, which is like a good 30 minutes of real time, 30, 40 minutes. And because we had too many pieces. So offensively, I don't think we were good anyway. But it was one of my worst shooting years as a shooter, coming off with my best in Toronto. But coming to LA, free throw and 3-point shooting, it was not the best there.
Well, that's the nuance that I'm happy that you'll be able to bring, not just to when you work for ESPN, but also when you work for Spectrum Sportsnet this year, kind of qualifying how the night might be for Gabe Vincent, who's gonna get a lot of open shots, and if he doesn't hit them, gonna be like, "Yo, what's going on with Gabe Vincent?" Might be like, "Well, he didn't touch the ball."
I think that had a lot to do with Dorian Finney-Smith's decision to go to Houston, which we forget that he's there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, I love that you kind of qualified the Lakers thing and playing with LeBron. And obviously that was probably the most quote unquote pressure that you played under. Am I wrong? But here's why I give you a little bit of kickback. Because you played with LeBron and you played for the Lakers, two big brands, and you had pressure to win. Am I wrong by thinking, Danny, that you're not, but it's not like you weren't accustomed to it, because isn't playing for North Carolina probably the most pressure you could have in college basketball?
Yeah, yes and no. But I said Tyler Hansbrough was very good, but it's not LeBron James. And that stage is a big one. It's not the NBA stage. It's not the Los Angeles Lakers stage. And as a young kid, you're just fearless. You don't know any better. So that's why I think you play your best years, even in the NBA, when you're younger and you have a lower contract. Nobody's expecting it of you. You're not, when you have a bigger contract, night in, night out, those guys, listen, you're making $30, $40 million. You better be a superstar. So it's more pressure on them now. Now, depending on how they take that, how they approach it, it's on them, some guys. But that's why a lot of those guys some people say superstars are sensitive. No, they get a lot of heat, bro. Like, there's KD has a burner account. Yo, he likes people. A lot of people talk shit to him. He wants to talk shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot being a superstar, bro, and having to be like, all right, night in, night out, this team winning relies on me. I didn't have that until like you get the bigger contract, until you're the starter, you're playing with LeBron James, like, and Anthony Davis. Yo, we need you to shoot well for these guys to play open space and win. So yeah. But yeah, so we played in New York, we played in so many atmospheres, bro. That's why my mindset going in was like, no, F it, man. I'm cool. I ain't tripping. I ain't scared of nothing. I can play in any atmosphere. It's just different when you're in the environment, though.
100%. Well, we talked. I'm glad you're going to bring that level of nuance to the situation now that you're going to be working with Spectrum Sportsnet. And again, as a member of the media, Danny, who's going to have a voice, I am charging you to make sure that we don't forget some of the greats. And I'm saying that because Allen Iverson recently did a media tour and he said a number of things. And I want to congratulate him for, believe he's now 6 months sober. Good for him. But he also gave his top 5 players in the history of the NBA. And again, there's no such thing as a wrong opinion. There isn't. Yeah, however, some opinions just don't sit right with me, and the basketball gods shouldn't be happy about certain opinions either. And Allen Iverson's top 5, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Shaquille O'Neal, all very good first ballot Hall of Famers. But my goodness, Danny, as you have a microphone now, I am charging you. Please let's not forget guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Please let's not forget Magic Johnson. Please let's not forget Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell. The list can go on and on and on. We could all have our top 5s, and all of us have our top 10s. But to have a top 5 without Magic or Kareem, Daddy,
I'm with you, bro.
Please don't let them forget.
And I respect AI to the fullest. He's one of the greatest. He changed the game culturally in so many aspects. But I expected more not more from him, but I expected him to pay more homage to the older guys because he's an older guy himself. Now, I respect Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, and Bron. You have to have Bron, Kobe. No, Bron and Mike, you have to have in your top 3, no matter what. I don't care who you are. Now, the order is a little, okay, listen, Bron to me, a lot of people have it 1. So, but if not 1, he's 2. So, him at 3, some people have a gripe. They have something with that. But hey, Bron is in the top 5. Steph, for me, is in the top 10, but I don't know if I could put him in the top 5. Like, him and Magic is a conversation.
You can't. You can't.
I respect that he's paying homage to Shaq. Like, so Shaq is one of the most dominant. But again, Steph to me is a very good player, and I'm not trying to pick on Steph, but because I think he's one of the greatest to ever do what he's done, and he's definitely top 10 because of that. If he wasn't the greatest to do it, he wouldn't be in the top 10 if he wasn't. Because if you look at everybody else that's normally in the top 10, they were juggernauts, not on just offense, but both sides of the ball, or they dominate the game in a multitude of ways. Steph does it, but it's mostly on the offense end of the floor. His passing, his floor space creating, like how he's creating, and also how he shoots the ball, and of course how he's won. He's just a winner. So yes, I don't mind. Again, this is his opinion, so I don't think this is a terrible one. But I just thought he would pay more homage to the older guys, and I thought for sure Magic might be in there. You got Kareem, Bill Russell, Will, Larry Bird. There's it's just even Tim Duncan, like guys that I think of that are in my top 10.
You're gonna have a responsibility again as you get more and more appearances. I feel like when people do their top 10s, people do their top 5s, when they name dynasties, because Tim Duncan didn't grab the microphone because he wasn't loud.
He don't get the respect, bro.
There's going to be top 10s that don't have. No, well, Tony's different, but I understand.
He's not a top 5, top 10. But I'm saying a lot of the Spurs don't get, like, him not being a top 75 was kind of crazy. Like Dwight not being top 75. There's guys that should,
like
get more.
For example, I'm not 100% sure that Tim Duncan doesn't deserve to be in front of Shaq. Like, I know Shaq was a dominant player, but I don't know if there's a strong argument that Tim Duncan wasn't a better basketball player than Shaq. And the fact that Tim Duncan the fact that he doesn't get mentioned is part because of just who his personality is. And I'm just saying, Danny, you got a responsibility here because if they start forgetting Tim Duncan, you might as well throw basketball in the garbage. You might as well throw basketball in the garbage.
They're not gonna forget Timmy. They're not gonna forget Timmy around me, bro. Trust me. I'll be a strong advocate for my Spurs. And I think with having a new iteration of the Spurs and Wemby keep him alive, you're always gonna remember those guys, like, because he's gonna still continue to learn from Timmy, David Robinson, and the Spurs are always gonna be relevant as winners. And that's where it started. Like, Timmy was the guy, and they'll never forget about him when I'm on air, for sure not.
Don't let that happen. Yeah. That'd be a travesty.
It'd be a tragedy.
Speaking of great players, how about one Giannis Antetokounmpo? And the storylines and the headlines and the development story continues to develop over the course of time. Most recently, we heard a quote from ESPN NBA reporter Brian Windhorst that teams are gearing up for one Giannis Antetokounmpo to make it to the trade market, because whether it happens now, whether it happens later, I think the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis are going to decide this ain't it, y'all. There is no championship on the way. And you cannot let Giannis Antetokounmpo leave the organization without getting something in return. You got to leave here with something, in the words of Denzel Washington. With that being said, Danny, you've had some days to think about it. And in the last episode, we thought about some options. But now I'm putting you on the hot seat. If you are Giannis Antetokounmpo and you could only get traded to one team, which team is it and why?
Speaking of Tim Duncan and Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs, it's an easy decision for me. And of course, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, all right, if I'm Giannis, there's a lot going on in the West, right? You kind of want to avoid the West. But to be able to play with a guy like Victor Wembanyama, generational, like somebody we will probably never see again, you can't pass up on that opportunity. Mind you, they do have to give up a good amount, but they still get to keep a lot. If you go to New York, you're going to have to give up so much to where you're going to deplete your bench again and not be able to compete the way, but you are in the East, which I feel like you're not going to be able to compete, and you're older. So you're not going to have as much time over a window to get it done. San Antonio, you got guys like Dylan Harper there, De'Aaron Fox, Jeremy Shohan, Keldon. They got pieces that they can move, but they also got pieces they can keep to make them still be very good with Giannis, Wemby, and either De'Aaron Fox or Dylan Harper or whoever you decide to keep. Vassell, Stephon Castle. They have a really good group of guys, man, young core that they can be good for another decade. So for me, it's an easy answer, bro. The San Antonio Spurs. That's the answer. The San Antonio Spurs, and playing with Victor Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, who I don't know if they'll be able to keep all of them. But if you want to win, I know it's in the West, but you need to be playing with the San Antonio Spurs. That atmosphere, and of course, Giannis likes to keep his money. Less taxes in Texas. I know he likes to be cheap. His family would live better there. Not as much of a spotlight like New York is. I'm just saying not as much pressure, but there'll still be pressure to win regardless. But it's just a different type of vibe, different type of city, and he'll be a god in San Antonio.
I just think of us as basketball fans deserve to see that. I just think we deserve to see.
So my question is, will they look at him as teaming up like would it be a KD situation? Will it be less credited because he's teaming up with Victor Wembanyama?
No, because I think because Victor's still young. Because it's the West. Because it's the Western.
They're a team that hasn't won yet, right? So it's not like KD went to KD went to a champ, the team that beat you. This is a team that's still up and coming and is not really good, so they're not looked at the same. But one could argue, Giannis went to play with Victor. Why y'all getting on KD for playing with Steph?
Stop it. No. You mean no? It's a totally different thing.
Just throw it out there.
No, absolutely not, because KD lost to the Warriors. Like you joined who beat you. It's a whole different category. Even if the talent level is equivalent, which it isn't, but it could be. It's the sheer fact that you joined a team that beat you. It's like no, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, a guy. One could argue semantics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, a lot of LeBron fans, like, people say LeBron's the one that started it. And he's like, guys been teaming up since before time. Like, Didn't KG and Paul Pierce, like they all teamed, like it's happened before.
People try to qualify it. Imagine if LeBron left the Cavs
after losing Boston, going to Boston.
and going to Boston. That's exactly. That would have been, come on. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
The superstars joining up, they say started with Bron but it has been going on since before.
But at least LeBron,
it was in a neutral area.
Joined up with people to beat his rivals.
Yeah.
He didn't join his rivals to win a championship. He wanted to still win a championship by beating his rivals. It's like, I just need a new squad to beat my rivals. Not, I just need to join my rivals. It's a totally different argument. Totally different.
I feel you, bro.
We got to get to some FanDuel sponsored content in just a moment in terms of our bets, but we still got one more headline that I wanted to discuss because Eric Spoelstra, who you know very well, Danny, was named the Team USA national team head coach. So you can expect him to be coaching the team in the Olympics in LA in a couple of years and all of these different things that the Team USA does. I'm curious though, Danny, again, as somebody who's played the league for a while, won 3 chips. I'm curious because you've played with some pretty good head coaches. Can you put together what is the best head coach of all time?
Ooh, I said I would love to have played for Spo. I got a chance to interview him this past year on the media side, but I tried pretty hard to get to Miami. It just didn't happen. They ended up signing Duncan Robinson back for $90 million, and that kind of just they didn't need another 3-and-D guy. So that was that. But I think Spo is a great mind, but I don't know him well enough to put him in that conversation. But to start top to bottom, bro, Pop is number one. And I have to use Pop's probably his discipline and his chess game, just how he is able to manage egos and figure out how to get the best out of guys. Like just overall, Pop is his number one. But I'm going to go with his discipline. Communication.
Give me an example of the discipline.
Well, first of all, our practices, people will think they're elementary, very fundamental. So like we would have a whole practice where we would stop, work on pivots, make sure we then step out of bounds in the corners because you're not 3-point line in the corner. People step up. We would stop, pivot. We would we would do our offense with ball fakes. Make sure if you didn't do it right, do it over. Like, no, you didn't ball fake, you didn't backdoor cut, you didn't plant and won't. Like he would stop, cuss you out. This is a backdoor cut. Every cut's a live cut. So we made sure we over and over again, repetitive of doing the fundamentals. So it looked and seemed elementary, but it made us great. And if you didn't do it right in practice, you get cussed out in your own. If you're doing it right in the game, you're getting subbed out. It didn't matter who you were, he'd cuss you out on timeout. And he lets you know when you first get there, you're not safe by calling a timeout first quarter of the game. As soon as somebody makes a mistake and cussing out the big heads. And it's like, damn, I just got the team. I didn't know they cuss out Timmy, Tony, and Manu like that. So he'll do that to let you know you're not safe. But yes, very disciplinary. Communication, I'm going to have to go with Taylor Jenkins because he was just great, man. He over-communicated. He let you know who was starting, who was going to be playing in rotation, who needed to be ready on the back burner. He also let you know like what quarters you're going in. And maybe he just did that with me because I had an injury. But he was like, look, all right, so-and-so is starting. So-and-so, you coming off the bench. And then he come to me, timeouts, second, third quarter. Second quarter, about 5-6 minute mark, I'm going to come to you. Like I've been in places where you have no idea if you're playing at all or what minutes you're playing. So to have that part of it was unbelievable. Like it was amazing. But all the way across the board, Memphis was great with their communication and texting. So I'm going to go with Taylor Jenkins on his communication and how he made everybody feel important. And guys know where they were going to be and what minutes they're going to get. That just makes a world of a difference for every player out there. Even if you're a vet not playing at all, at least I know. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to be on a bike and just doing nothing for no reason. And I can actually just get a workout in, cheer my teammates on, and just bring energy in that sense. Number 3, I'm going to go with defensive principles and philosophies. I'm going to go with Frank Vogel here because this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with Frank Vogel because Pop had some stuff with him. A lot of other guys had some stuff with him. Even, Doc had some good stuff, but I'm going to go with Frank Vogel here. We did so many defensive drills and stations, but he was also the first one. Now, this is a different game at the time. This is more of a pin down game. He was the first one that had a call for almost everything. Blitzes, on pick and rolls, on pin downs. It just made it that much easier for guys chasing shooters like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson to know that we had help and that we had bigs behind, and also know where bigs where they needed to be. So we're just defensive juggernaut as a group and individuals. But having him break it down and communicate to us and his adjustments on the fly, it just made it so much easier. Like we had a channel 1, channel 2, like because there's times where it looks like I'm getting lit up because I'm chasing a Joe Harris. But you know how hard it is to chase a guy off pin downs where there's no big helping. Like he's curling off the screen. Like you need a big to be there. You need to know what channel. You need to trap this guy. JJ's coming off. We need a big to show or trap him to make it uncomfortable. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. When you have that comfort behind you, and you're able to just yell out, channel 2, channel 1, and know that you have help. It's a world of a difference as a defender and just all around as a group. So I'm gonna have to give that to Frank Vogel. Offense is a bit tricky. And I'm leaning toward Pop because it is Pop because I actually played for him. And I did kind of play for this man, but not much. I'm going to go with Mike Malone. Mike Malone and Pop because I was my early years with Mike Malone, but I seen his X's and O's, what he did in Cleveland with Mike Brown. And I was a fan from day one. I always thought Mikey was very good with the board. And when we needed a play after a timeout, he would get a 3-ball or Bron a dunk. But ultimately, I'm going to give the pen to Pop because he had cards for every situation, whether it's 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 30 seconds in the game. All right, we got 2 seconds. We got to play. He got a play drawn up, and it always worked because we did the fundamentals, but we executed set right screens, and it was always some shit that you're like, damn, how did he come up with that? And why is it so open? and a lot of times, the teams knew the shit was coming. He look, we're going to do floppy down. We're going to do floppy. Watch screen. Tony's going to whistle. Like, they still like, Tony's going to get a layup. Still gets the damn layup. But y'all not stopping it. So ultimately, I'm going to give it to Pop, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to Mike Malone because I seen what he's done with his X's O's with a pen. So that right there so far is what I can think of. I'm trying to think of if there's another category that I might be missing.
So as an elite head coach, you would want somebody who communicates well, somebody who's good on defense, somebody who's good on offense, and somebody who's who installs discipline
and can manage egos.
Discipline and egos is probably the same thing. So there's probably one more trait of an elite head coach that you would probably want. What do you think that probably is?
I just want it's like make the best in-game adjustments.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. Or just have the players back and have tenacity and be able to like and I'm also like another guy that I'm leaning toward that I haven't got a chance to play for. I'm looking at Rick Carlisle and what he did with the Indiana Pacers and also
I'm surprised you haven't found a way to weasel in Roy Williams. But
it's just different level. It's just a different level. You know what I'm saying? And also, I was recruited by one of the assistants there.
You were recruited by what's his name, right? Oh, damn, what's his name?
Coach Robinson.
Black dude?
Yeah, Coach Robinson.
Yeah, went to Cornell, didn't he?
University of Arizona was his last stop. He just retired this year. So he was one of the main guys that recruited me. But yes, Coach Williams, he was the most efficient when it came to practice. Our practice is run by the minute. 3:46 to 3:52, we're doing this drill. From 3:53 to 3:57, we're doing. So he was the most efficient. He held the guys accountable. He was probably the most passionate. So if I had to go with the passion, obviously Pop was intense. I'm going to go with Roy Williams. He really loved the game. He was about it. And when he's in that, he's 70 years old, yelling on the sidelines, come on, get in a defensive stance. He's in a defensive stance yelling. He had the most passion. So if you want a coach that cares and has the most fire to him and cares about his players, I'm going to go with Roy Williams for sure. But I was thinking more of like because I was thinking more just NBA side. Why I didn't incorporate? Because if we're going all my coaches, Tim Cluse was the most. He's the perfectionist. Like he had unbelievable. His discipline was unbelievable too. So like he's very much in the conversation. And he has a mind that is unbelievable. He has a basketball mind that's outworldly. So my high school coach, he was the one that set the tone for me in the table. Without him, like he's the most impactful. Somebody asked me, "Who's your most impactful coach?" I was in Vancouver this past weekend, and I was like, "Damn, it has to be Tim Cluse," because he prepared me for being able to play for these guys. Without him, there's no way I make it and be able to play for Coach Williams or Pop. You know what I'm saying? So Tim Cluse is probably the most impactful coach that I've had.
We need to make sure we clip that off. All right. All right. We got two more things that we need to do before we get up out of here. As we do with every show, we have a top 5. Last show was my top 5 in terms of players with something to prove. And I stand on it. LaMelo Ball, it's time for you to play serious basketball, which means playing past April 15th. With that being said, Danny, it is your turn now, and you have a top 5 for us, and your top 5 is teams with the most pressure to win an NBA title. The floor is yours.
Yes, and this is not only this season, but their window for winning a title within a span of 2 years. Like, they have the shortest window before they call it quits and blow it up. Honorable mention, I'm going to go with honorable mentions first, just because they have some legends that people expect they have to win every year. Golden State and the Los Angeles Lakers. Their honorable mention at 6 and 7, however you want to do it. So they have LeBron James, he's 41 years old, and you have Luka Doncic. You're Los Angeles Lakers, you always have the pressure to win. Golden State, you spend a lot of money paying these guys that you have, probably over the cap, most of these teams over the cap, and you have Steph Curry. He's coming toward the end of his career. You're going to have pressure to win. So they're honorable mention. At number 5, and the only reason why they're at number 5 right now is because they had an injury, which takes a little bit of pressure off them. The Houston Rockets. You have traded for Kevin Durant. You gave away some of your young pieces. Jalen Green, we talked about. We thought might have been a mistake. Dillon Brooks, one of your leaders, one of your defensive juggernauts. Could be a mistake. You have KD at year 18, I want to say. You only have a window of maybe 2 years to win. Obviously, you kept some of your young core, but they have less pressure now because Fred VanVleet is out. Now it's even more pressure next year when he comes back, but they have a lot of pressure to win. If they don't, this trade is going to look like a bad one.
It is. I agree with you in the sense that you did give up Jalen Green, and I think people jumped the ship on Jalen. Went too hard on Jalen Green because he had one bad playoffs. But but if you really think about it, they still have the 2027 Brooklyn pick.
So that's why they're at number 5.
That could be a young player, and
because if they didn't have 6, they'd be higher. They'd be higher on my list, but they have them at 5 because this is a KD trade. And you might want to make it look good, and he's also a great that. Steph, Bron, KD, you're looking at these 3. They're on their way out. People want to see them win, right? Just like people want to see Chris Paul win. At number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, they would be higher too, but there's some other teams that have way more to prove. If you don't win, Giannis is for sure. Like, he's already halfway out the door. You got to have a successful season. If you doubling down like you did, made a trade, whatever you did this offseason, you waived in, you picked up Miles Turner, and instead of blowing it up, you're keeping Giannis. You better have a good record by trade deadline. You get fired 3 coaches. You got Doc there. You're paying him a lot of money. If you don't win, this looks really bad. So they're at number 4, right? They're at number 4. Milwaukee Bucks at my number 4. Number 3, your New York Knickerbockers. And honestly, if there weren't other teams that had been dicking around, they would be higher. But because there's other teams that have been dicking around, the New York Knickerbockers are at number 3. East is wide open. You made all this trades. You got a good bench. You got Jalen Brunson. You fired Tibbs. You got Mike Brown in there. You have a window. You have about 2-3 year window, but you have the pieces. You spend a lot of money. You don't have to win right now, but you need to win this year in the near future. You do need to win because the East is wide open. There is pressure for the Knicks to win because there's no excuses now. There's no excuses.
I would say this. It's the biggest season in the last 4 decades of New York Knicks basketball. That's without a doubt. Not just because of how talented they are, but because the scene is clear. Tyrese Halliburton's going to be good for the year. Jason Tatum probably, he more than likely does not play. And if he plays, he's probably not going to be his real self until the next NBA season. You really just have to worry about the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers in themselves have not proven themselves to be a team that you should fear in the playoffs. I would say, Danny, that I wouldn't put pressure on them to win an NBA Finals because
they need to get to the finals.
They're not better than the Thunder, I would think. They need to get to the finals.
So to me, I'm not just saying they have to win a championship, but they have to have these teams need to have a very good winning season. You can't go to Eastern Conference Finals last year and the East gets weaker and you fall shorter than that. So you have pressure to at least get back to the Eastern Conference Finals or at least the finals. That to me is still winning. You have to have a really good winning. You better get to the Eastern Conference Finals again or get to the finals. The expectations are high.
Yeah, I would say the only acceptable result for the Knicks, like the minimum requirement for a successful season, is not just getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, but the lowest bar that they would have to cross, they would have to lose in a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. If they lost the Eastern Conference Finals in 5 games, it would be disgraceful. Like
it has to be 6 games. It has to be
6-7 games at least.
6-7 games. But you get a little more leeway with a new coach. Mike Brown is new there, so like you get a little more leeway. So I don't think it has to be a 7-game series. That's why I'm saying that. Like you have to get at least now. If you kept the same coach, it has to be 7 games or the finals. Like you have to get to the finals with Tibbs. You can't lose in the Eastern Conference Finals with that same group. Now, because you have more new fresh people, new coaching staff, you get a little bit more, like it's their first year together with that group. So you get a little more time. That's why they're at 3.
Okay, I would hope I'm not gonna spoil your list, but if the Knicks are 3, I better hear a certain team at 2 or 1.
You know, number 2, the Los Angeles Clippers.
Okay.
What they have said, they're just old as hell, bro. They're just old. And the trade that they made for Kawhi, PG, and letting go SGA, and you've had multiple iterations, and you're keeping them together. You got James Harden, you paid him again, got rid of North. Like, you got all these people. You have a very short window to win with Kawhi. And there's no reason why they shouldn't have at least gotten to the finals or Western Conference. I don't think they've gotten to Western Conference Finals with that iteration. Maybe they did against Dallas. But there's pressure for them, especially with the scrutiny they're under right now of the off the court issues with Kawhi is going on. I think that puts more pressure on them to win.
All that money that they gave, they might as well. Yeah, last
all the money they gave out
was 21 with PG. They ended up losing that was the year they lost to the Nuggets, I believe.
It just makes the trade look way worse. So PG's not there anymore. You haven't won anything. You haven't got to the finals.
Oh, the Suns, excuse me.
And it said Kawhi has an injury, so there is some pressure on Kawhi. Now that neither here nor there. Clippers could be probably below the Knicks, maybe. I could put Knicks at 2. But my number 1 is the Philadelphia 76ers. It's just been a long time coming, bro. And they've been talking about blowing it up each year. What do we do with Joel? If they don't win this year, it's gonna be a lot of smoke in the city. And they're gonna have to make a lot of changes. And it's gonna probably start with Joel. Unfortunately, he's such a great player.
You can't. What do you mean? What do you mean start? What do you mean start with Joel? You can't trade that contract. You can't trade that. That's an untradeable contract with his injury history.
There's no such thing. Everything can be traded or moved. However you need to do. They can find a way. And somebody's gonna want Joel. You think people don't want Joel?
Not with that bill that's due on his knees.
I'm willing to bet there's a lot of teams out there in the lower tier, the bottom tier, and mid-tier that would want Joel to sell tickets and try to put themselves in playoff contention. And they would trade to do so. So, yes. And I'm saying that, listen, this is hypothetical, but they have the most pressure, I think, to win this year. They traded for PG, signed them to big money. You got all these money on the books with Tyrese, PG, and Joel, and getting all these pieces back. Joel being MVP of the league, one of the most talented players, him being healthy and them having a winning season. And also winning a championship, or at least getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they got to the Eastern Conference Finals yet.
No,
they have the most pressure to do that.
Joel Embiid is the only MVP to never make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers at number 1. They have the most pressure to win. And that doesn't mean a championship, but they need to have a successful season. And that's it again.
Need to have a succccessful season.
And that 100%. For them is Eastern Conference Finals at least. And they have to have 50 plus wins, have the home court, be in the top 3, top 4, and have a good win at least 2 series in the playoffs.
I'll give a little pushback on that because number 1, they still have a future. Like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jared McCain. Like whenever Joel Embiid is no longer a Sixer, whenever Paul George is no longer a Sixer, you could still have Maxey, McCain, Edgecombe, and if somehow, some way, you're actually able to trade away Joel Embiid, maybe you end up getting another young piece too.
Or picks. But again, we don't know what Edgecombe is going to be yet. We have to see how he pans out.
For sure. He has to pan into something.
We have to see how he pans out and when he comes back from injuries. Came off ACL. Those very good young players, young pieces, young core. Again, these aren't guys that are proven like Paul George and Joel Embiid. So we don't know. And if they were Paul George and Joel Embiid or Desmond Bane and, you know what I'm saying, Jared Jackson Jr., well, you know, like the all-NBA team guys, then it's like, oh, that young core is good to keep. But we don't know if they're going to ever be
You're not sure. That's fair. I'm surprised, though, somewhere in your top 5, if you found a way to put the Knicks in there, which I do think the Knicks need to be in there, how did you not find a way to put the Cavaliers in there? Like, do they not, especially after what happened last year, after 3 years ago, the lights got too bright for Jared Allen, and now you're looking they should have the best record in the they should have the best record in the Eastern Conference. They no longer have a new head coach. This is Kenny Atkinson's second year. Donovan Mitchell, another talented player who's never made it to the conference finals level. You have a guy like Evan Mobley. What has happened to Darius Garland when he gets to the playoffs? Either he's injured or doesn't play well. Jared Allen, again, lights too bright. And they made moves this past offseason. Danny, if there's any team that should be in that top 5, and again, I could make an argument they should be number 1. It should be the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're giving them a break because they're in Cleveland. If the Cleveland Cavaliers were the Los Lakers, you'd have them at number 1.
Maybe so. No, they'd be my top 5. They could go along with the honorable mention. I had Lakers, Golden State, Cleveland Cavaliers, but I just don't expect much from them because you lost one of your important pieces in Ty Jerome.
No. Ty Jerome wasn't important he wasn't important if you judge by how he played in the playoffs.
That's why
they made the trade for DeAndre Hunter.
The reason why they were winning during the season, Ty Jerome was 6 man. He could have been 6 man of the year. Yeah. But you picked up Lonzo. I just feel like I think they lost some piece. Like they do have some pressure win. I'll put them in honorable mention, but my list is my list. Argue with your mama. No. Cleveland Cavaliers not number 1.
How can a team that's slated to have the best record in the Eastern Conference, Danny? I could make an argument the Cleveland Cavaliers should have the best record in the NBA this season because they're in the East. How could they not be in the top 5 then? How could you probably have a top 3 record in the entire NBA and not be in the top 5?
Well, it goes to show you that the regular season doesn't really matter. Like, to me, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So the playoffs, you lost to Indiana. You lose. They could lose to Milwaukee. They could probably lose to Indiana again, for all we know. But like, to me, they made some changes that were not good ones. They didn't pick up a superstar all-star like KD. That's why I have Houston in there. Giannis is also, you losing him. Knicks have picked up a bench, and they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So yes, more pressure there. Clippers is old now. Yes, can I substitute them for the Clippers? Yeah, I put the Clippers in there because I'm just like, yo, you guys have had this group. You've had Kawhi. So Cleveland, I could put Cleveland at 2. But again, my list is my list.
Your list is your list. Your list is your list. I mean, opinions are rarely wrong, but in this instance, they are. Right. When we come back, we got one more thing to do before we get out of here, and that's going to be looking at the Clutch Player of the Year odds. We'll do that in a moment right here on Inside the Green Room. All right, we're back. More Inside the Green Room. Danny Green, Harrison Sanford, coming to you on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and wherever else you find your podcast or your podcast content. We are coming at you every Wednesday and Friday, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. With that being said, we're not getting out of here without looking ahead to the 2025-2026 NBA season by looking at some preview odds. And this time around, we're looking at the Clutch Player of the Year award. And Danny, we've seen this award be given out 3 different years. The first time it was won by De'Aaron Fox. The year after that, Steph Curry. And then last year, Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson has an opportunity to do it again. In fact, he is the favorite right now if you look at the odds according to FanDuel at plus 850. With that being said, even though he is plus 850, Danny, I don't know if he'll be able to repeat that. And I think that's simply, well, he is able to repeat it, but I don't know if I would consider him the favorite, even though an argument could be made for that, because I do think that the New York Knicks are going to be blowing out a lot of teams. Yeah. I think under Tom Thibodeau, they
comfortable. I won't say blowout. They'll win comfortable.
Blowouts, but they'll have a lot more comfortable wins. I think the one I love points. I love what Coach Tibbs did for the New York Knicks, but the thing about him, his offense lacked ball movement, and there were stints where OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges were just not getting enough touches. In fact, the pick and roll game or pick and pop game between Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns had a number of times or moments where it struggled. This year, I expect the Knicks offense to be top 7 in the NBA. And if they have a top 7 offense with the talent that they have, Jalen Brunson is just not going to have a lot of clutch moments. It's not that he's not a clutch player. I just don't see a clock. Don't get me started. Don't let me get on a Knicks rant. Don't let me get on a Knicks rant right now. We'll save that for next week when we do our season prediction show. But for now, I'll just say Jalen Brunson, clutch player, not going to be in a lot of clutch moments. Knicks going to rack up a lot of dubs, and they're going to rack up a lot of dubs comfortably. With that being said, Danny, here's some other odds. Anthony Edwards, 9-1. Kevin Durant, 9-1. Luka Doncic, 10-1. Nikola Jokic, 10-1. Steph Curry, 15-1. But you, my friend, aren't a fan of those players for this particular award. Mm-hmm. You're going with somebody else, and please surprise me because it sounds like you're about to.
Cade Cunningham. I don't know if this man came across your desk, but what he did last year, and the reason why his odds are not that crazy is because he was an MVP conversation caliber player. What he did in the playoffs, it was his first time in the playoffs, learning experience. And they usually give like these guys most improved because they can't give him nothing else. Like these guys are a lot of John Morant getting most improved. Like, come on now. These guys are predicted to be, they should not be in most improved player type of guys. But because they're so damn good and can't get MVP, we're going to give him clutch player of the year. So next year, if he keeps going the way he's going, the way he's trending, Cade Cunningham is my pick. And if Detroit keeps balling like they've been balling and getting the playoffs, get that man his money. If you want to bet, I'll bet on it.
I was thoroughly impressed by how he performed throughout the course of the season. And obviously, I liked what he did in the playoffs too. He's just, Danny, he's big, he's strong, confidence level, got the mid-range, got the 3-ball. And he is
SGA in the East to me. Like obviously it's a little different, but he's the SGA of the Eastern Conference, like the Eastern Conference. Like he just has to learn to get to the free throw line more. Like that's the one thing he's missing. But he plays at his own pace. He plays in the post more. Like he uses his body, big shoulder, athletic, dunked up a little more athletic than Shea. Like he'll dunk you. And he learned how to play the point. Like he was getting 7+ assists in the playoffs. Like he was doing his thing as a point guard, setting the table for guys, and led Detroit from being one of the worst teams in the league last year, the year prior, to be in the playoffs and damn near taking it to 6-7 games with the Knicks. Had they had called a foul on Tim Hardaway Jr., whoever was in that corner that got fouled, they could have had a longer, series with that stretch. But they balled out, and it started with him.
Yeah, and I think you've probably seen it over the course of your career. Sometimes a young player who's destined for greatness getting eliminated early in the playoffs, it only wakens the monster. And they come back the next season, and you're like, oh, my goodness.
There were some moments where I think he said he didn't capitalize on. It's like, okay, I think he missed a couple clutch shots. I picked him because when we thought clutch, and I thought of like who had opportunities as a young player that didn't capitalize. It's like going to go back to the drawing board like, you know what? They're going to learn from it. And to me, that was Cade. Because I think it was against the Knicks. He had a couple opportunities to kind of put him away, and he missed a couple shots. And it just didn't go. It just didn't go well for him. But I have him as my clutch player of the year for next year, for this season, 2025-26 season.
It's kind of wild that I'm saying this as a Knicks fan, but I think I wouldn't be shocked if he's starting the All-Star game. Now, whose spot is he taking? Is he taking Donovan Mitchell's or Jalen Brunson's?
That's a record thing, right? So depending on where the record is for both those teams, Cade could be a starter.
We shouldn't be looking this far ahead, but I think if you, off the top of my head, if you look at the guards, you already know it's going to be Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham. I'm trying to think who the other two guards would be. We could think about that another day. But okay, all right, there you go. Danny Green picks. He'd probably forward, but I see what you're saying. Danny Green picks Cade Cunningham to be clutch player of the year at 20-1. Not bad. That's not a bad one at all, actually. Good call. Good call. Also, we did get some breaking news right at the
2-1,
end of
2001, not 21, 2-1, 2001.
Yeah, so 20-1.
I guess if that's how you say it.
That's how you say it. All right, we got to get up out of here, but before we do, we did get some news that LeBron James will be missing the next 3 to 4 weeks with an eye injury. He did say recently that he's not going to put as much pressure on the beginning of the season because obviously he wants to last to the end of the season. But I do find that probably non-ideal for the Los Angeles Lakers. Thankfully for them, they have a skinny Luka this time around.
My pick is only looking better and better for points per game for the regular season.
You know what? Hold on. Hey. I wonder if there's been
might start off with a 50 ball. In his first 3 weeks, he might average 45.
I doubt things change that fast, even though sometimes they do. Might as well give it a look. Oh, I can't even give it a look because my thing got to log out. Oh, come on. All right. Well, we'll figure it out next time. We'll look back at what the odds might be on that 5-1 bet on Luka leading the league in scoring when we come back next Wednesday. Until then, tell them what to do.
Read, rate, subscribe, review. Peace.